The Feast of the Forsaken. I had always been a food enthusiast, someone who couldn't resist trying new and exotic dishes. So, when I heard about an exclusive underground restaurant known as the Feast of the Forsaken, I couldn't resist the temptation to experience something truly unique. The restaurant's location was a closely guarded secret, known only to those who received a cryptic invitation. I arrived at a nondescript building, its entrance concealed behind a heavy velvet curtain. The dimly lit dining room was filled with a select group of guests, all eager to partake in the feast. The menu was like nothing I had ever seen, featuring dishes made from rare and forbidden ingredients. I couldn't help but feel a twinge of unease as I perused the offerings. The host, a tall, enigmatic figure, assured us that the evening would be unforgettable. As the courses arrived, I marveled at the exquisite presentation and bold flavors. The dishes seemed to grow progressively more unusual, featuring ingredients that should never be consumed by human beings. Yet, there was a strange compulsion to keep eating, to indulge in the forbidden. It was during the final course that I noticed something peculiar, a strange, otherworldly sensation washing over me. The dining room seemed to warp and shift, and the guests around me took on a ghastly, spectral appearance. I looked down at my plate, only to find that the meal had transformed into a grotesque, pulsating mass. Panic set in as I realized that I had become part of a sinister ritual, a feast for an otherworldly entity. The host's voice rang out, filled with malevolence. Welcome to the Feast of the Forsaken, where the price of indulgence is your very soul. I tried to flee, but the room had become a nightmarish labyrinth. The other guests reached out with spectral hands, their eyes hollow and filled with hunger. I was trapped, a prisoner in a restaurant that served a feast of the forsaken. As I was consumed by the otherworldly entity, I realized the horrifying truth: the restaurant had been a trap, a place where the boundaries between the living and the dead were blurred. The memory of the Feast of the Forsaken still haunts me, a chilling reminder of the dangers of indulging in forbidden desires. The haunting aroma. It was a quaint little bistro that I had heard glowing reviews about. The moment I stepped through the door of La Saveur Macabre, I was greeted by the tantalizing aroma of exquisite cuisine. The cozy restaurant was adorned with dimly lit candles and vintage artwork, creating an ambience that was both elegant and inviting. As I took my seat and perused the menu, I was drawn to a special item: the bouillabaisse du demon. The waiter, a polite but somewhat eerie figure, described it as the restaurant's signature dish, a secret recipe passed down through generations. The dish arrived, a rich, aromatic broth teeming with seafood. The aroma was intoxicating, and I eagerly took my first bite. It was unlike anything I had ever tasted, a symphony of flavors that danced on my palate. As I continued to savor the dish, I noticed something unusual: a reflection in my spoon. It was not my own face, but that of a ghostly figure, their eyes filled with longing and despair. I recoiled in shock, and the figure vanished. I called the waiter over, my heart racing, and asked about the reflection. He simply smiled and said, "Ah, it seems you've met the previous owner." a ghostly presence that lingers in the restaurant. I was taken aback, but the allure of the bouillabaisse du demon was too strong to resist. I continued to eat, and with each bite, the reflections in my spoon grew more numerous. A parade of restless spirits that had met their end in the restaurant. I tried to flee, but the door was locked, and the waiter's smile had grown menacing. He revealed the restaurant's dark secret: the spirits of those who had died within its walls were bound to it. And anyone who tasted the bouillabaisse du demon became part of their spectral ranks. I was trapped, a prisoner in a restaurant haunted by the spirits of the forsaken. The aroma that had drawn me in was now a curse, a reminder that some pleasures came at a terrible price. The gastronomic nightmare. The restaurant, Le Corchima Gourmand, was renowned for its avant-garde cuisine, where dining was not merely a meal, but an artistic experience. I had heard stories of diners who left the restaurant forever changed, and I was eager to embark on my own gastronomic adventure. The evening began with a playful amuse-bouche, a delectable morsel that danced on my tongue. I was soon presented with a series of courses that pushed the boundaries of taste and texture. The dishes were exquisite, a fusion of flavors and presentations that challenged my palate in ways I had never imagined. As the evening progressed, however, I began to feel a sense of unease. The restaurant's ambience had shifted from inviting to disconcerting, the dimly lit dining room casting eerie shadows on the diners. The conversations around me grew hushed, and the atmosphere was charged with an otherworldly energy. The courses became increasingly bizarre, featuring ingredients that seemed to defy the laws of nature. I was served dishes that were both captivating and disturbing, pushing the boundaries of what I could stomach. The restaurant's chef, an enigmatic figure known for his eccentricity, personally presented each course. It was during the final course that the true nature of the restaurant was revealed. The dish, a nightmarish concoction of dismembered meats and unidentifiable ingredients, was served in a grotesque, surreal presentation. The chef's eyes bore into mine as he whispered, "You are the masterpiece." Panic set in as I realized that the restaurant was not merely serving food, but creating art from the flesh of its diners. The other patrons had become part of the grotesque tableau, their faces contorted in agony. I tried to flee, but the restaurant had become a nightmarish labyrinth. The chef's laughter echoed through the dining room as he pursued me with a gleaming knife. I was trapped, a prisoner in a restaurant that turned the act of dining into a gastronomic nightmare. The memory of Le Corchima Gourmand still haunts me, a chilling reminder that the pursuit of culinary art can lead to unspeakable horrors.